showtime! Woo! 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 Silent and profiling. Woo! It's live and in color. Woo!
Welcome to the Mafia Sports Report on the Buffalo Fan Base Network. I'm your host, Tommy, to the highest degree, to the TOP, from the 313. And by my side is my main man, my toucan Sam, the one they call the Apex Man, Mr. Mikey. What is going on, brother?
I'm blue.
You are blue.
I'm blue. No, my mood is blue. Everything about me is blue.
Your face.
I don't know what's going on with my camera tonight. It's just I come off blue. I played with the light.
Yeah,
you know,
the camera is feeling your. Maybe that camera's like AI, has AI,
right?
Right, and it's just feeling your mood tonight, right?
Yeah, I'm a little blue after yesterday. I will tell you, Tommy, after rewatching the game, even though I probably shouldn't have rewatched it, I rewatched it anyways.
Oh, yikes!
It took Miami to have us missing, half of our starters basically, and put together one of the best defensive games that I've seen them play in a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
To barely beat us.
Yeah,
Bill,
I know. We talked
and Twitter is melting down. I saw people talking about wanting McDermott fired, and how Allen sucks, and I'm just like, listen, we're gonna lose. It's not gonna look pretty at times. It happens. We are sitting in a really good place right now as Bills fans. I mean, granted, we do need to get some of these guys freaking healthy. We have a laundry list of injured guys, but overall, we're sitting fine.
Yeah, I gotta say it's weird. Usually I'm like really down and out on Bills losses. I took that one pretty well. I don't know why. Like I thought it was gonna be a little bit, even though, yeah, I guess there's a few factors that's why I'm not super upset. One, because it's only week 3, right? You know what I mean? Now we're going to week 4. That's one. Two, we were missing seemed like 75% of our team, and we still should have won the game, right?
Yep.
So against, like I said, I predicted the Dolphins to go 9 or 10 wins and possibly be a playoff team. So, to play as good as we did and have the mistakes we did and still be in the game and still have a chance to win the game says a lot about even the depth of this team. So I guess I'm not super concerned about the loss. Of course, there's things I didn't like, which we're going to get to. And we got a Dallas in here. Dallas, evening, guys. How's it going? After yesterday, yeah, man. You know what? I'm okay. Like honestly, I was a little pissed at first, only because I hate the Dolphins. Like I don't know. I think I told you this, Mikey. They're my most hated team in the NFL. Like I don't know what, because I guess I grew up in South Florida and we were always rivals. Back in the 90s. And I just despised them, man, because it was a battle. Listen, when I grew up and I started watching them, the Patriots sucked. It was the Bills and the Dolphins and then early 90s, Marino and Kelly, right? So I grew to hate them, and that's just the way it works. A lot of new Bills Mafia fans or whatever, they started watching maybe in the 2000s when Brady was around. They started having that passion, that hate towards in New England and Tom, but I already had my passion built up. So I guess that part is a little stings because the team I hate the most. But other than that, man, there's some good and bad to take away from this game. So let's start with the bad, and let's start with some injuries. Mikey, I want you to go over the injuries. First, let me get to a comment real quick. For Mike, evening, that was a fourth quarter battle, and we only lost because of attrition of so many players. Not worried about the loss. Yeah, I'm 100% with you, man. So Mike, get with me.
Let's pump the brakes on that as well. That's the only reason why we lost. The Dolphins are a good team. Let's give them the credit that they deserve. They were able to find a way to win the ball game. Are they better than the Bills overall? Absolutely not. But the Dolphins aren't a bad team. They're a good team. So let's just say just because we lost guys is the reason why we lost. We didn't execute. They did. In the story, they earned that W.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give them their moment. They beat us.
Oh, they
first
get
time in 7 shots.
Yeah, man. You know? Yeah, for sure they get credit. We're gonna dive a little bit into the game in a minute, but go ahead with the injuries real quick.
Okay, so from the injury, so here's a tweet that came out. So out for the season now. We've lost Hyde, obviously, due to the neck. We've lost Tommy Doyle, who was a man-child yesterday and played on a torn ACL to end the game.
Mm-hmm.
On IR, we have Stevenson, who has the ability to return after next week. On PUP, we have White and Bacher. Both can start returning after next week if they're back up to ready. Week to week, we have Kumro, high ankle sprain. He left early yesterday.
Yep.
Christian Benford's gonna be out a couple of weeks. He's getting ready to have surgery on his hand. He fractured his hand, so he'll be week to week. To be determined still. Dane Jackson neck, Ed Oliver ankle, Jordan Phillips hamstring, Jordan Poyer foot, Ryan Bates concussion, Van Rotten. I'm not exactly sure what happened to him, but he left the game yesterday. He's still to be determined. And then heat related, we had Brown, Knox, McKenzie, Diggs, and then Josh had to go for x-rays on his hands yesterday. So we have a laundry list of injuries, and it's all about getting us healthy as we start putting this together. It's not about the regular season. Yes, we want the 1 seed so we can play at home, but at the end of the day, the most key piece is keeping us healthy and getting us ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, man. I guess the only good part of this is it's early. It's happening early. And hopefully a lot of these injuries, except for a few, like the Hyde one.
Hyde and Doyle.
Well, Hyde, the most important of them, but Doyle too. Is there injuries that are short term, right? Yep. Now, there's no really word on Dane yet, correct?
No, nothing on Dane.
Dane is a question mark. We'll put that. That is a question.
Well, there's a lot of them still to be determined. We don't know Dane. We don't know Oliver because Oliver's already been out 2 weeks. We thought he'd be back already. Well, Phillips, we're not sure how bad and how you doing, Hen Dog? Glad you're able to catch us live. He usually catches us on the replay. Jordan Phillips, we don't know how bad that hammy is. Poyer with his foot. I'm guessing since he was a game time decision, he'll be okay, but Oliver was a game time decision too, and he's missed 2 weeks. Yeah. Bates' concussion, I'm guessing maybe a week. If he's not cleared for this week, he'll be probably okay the following week. Yep. And then Van Rotten, I'm not even sure what happened to Van Rotten.
I don't know either.
But all those guys are to be determined.
He was limping off the field though, so it has to be something with his leg if I were to guess. But I'm no doctor. But either way, so we should have guys back shortly, right?
Yes.
I think. Ed Oliver, the Ed Oliver one is weird. It's a little longer than I expected. I'll be honest with you. So it must have been worse than many thought, or even he thought initially. The Jordan Poyer one is strange because it was out of the blue. I did not.
Well, he didn't practice all week with the foot.
I know, but nobody.
He didn't come out of He didn't come out of that game. Granted, he didn't have to play the fourth quarter because we pulled everyone the third. So
it was just weird. But either way, I guess maybe they're just precaution, or not. If he's not 100%, McDermott probably not going to play it. Trey White should be back. I would think week 8. I'm going to say it right now. I don't think he's going to be back before then. I mean, we can hold on hope. You never know. He could come back week 6, week 5. I don't know. But I'm gonna say to keep it on the safe side of things, let's just go for week 8, right? Let's just say Trey should be back week 8. So that's a huge piece to add, right? Back to the Buffalo Bills. Defense is so desperately needed. So the real question is, Mikey, will Brandon Beane now go out and look at some of these free agents that are available for corner and safety? Will he make a potential trade? Because this is a Super Bowl year, right? I know Brandon Beane hasn't made a huge trade since, I hate to say it, Kelvin Benjamin when he first got
Stephon Diggs.
Well, no, in season.
Okay,
in-season trade. He hasn't done it since the Benjamin, and I think he's hesitant because of that. I got to be honest with you. So Will we be hesitant this year? We'll see. But with the injuries that are piling up, Mikey, it's almost like his hand might be forced. What do you think?
Let's think about this. We just played probably two of the fastest receivers we're going to play duos, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And we held 1 to 2 catches for 33, and we held the other 1 to 4 for 102, and we got the 102 because he got loose late in the game, right? So the secondary isn't so much my concern. They seem to be able to patchwork that. My concern is that D line, and we did really good, from a run perspective. What we miss is that interior rush from Phillips and Oliver. Prince of Me is it? Yeah, no, Brewer, right? It was Brewer, or was it Brewer? I can't remember.
It was Brewer. I think
it was Brewer. Yeah, so it was Brewer and Bryant, right?
Bryant, yes, Brandon Bryant.
So those two are fantastic run stoppers, and they've filled in admirably the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, yep.
But we need that interior pass rush, and that's what we're missing. Because even Daquan Jones, he's not really a pass rusher. He's a run stopper. He's a one tech.
He's a stuffer. Yeah,
he's a stuffer. So really, interior with us having Phillips and Oliver out, it leaves it to settle. He's our one pass rusher.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to go out and get anybody for that. I don't think, my biggest concern about the secondary is why did we play Ingram over Lewis?
Yeah, I mean, well,
we kept Lewis on the 53. We brought Ingram up off the practice squad and elevated him for the game, and we played him over Lewis.
Yeah, there has to be a reason. There has to be something. I mean, obviously, right? They know more than we do, right? At the end of the day, they do know more than we do. Could it have been a speed factor? Maybe they like the speed over Cam. I'm just guessing. I'm throwing things out there. But I will say this though, I didn't think it didn't backfire really.
No,
so it wasn't
held his own.
Right. So now I want to get into a little bit into the game real quick before we get actually no, let's stay on free agents or real quick. There's some veteran free agents out there. I sent you a list today, right? I know Richard Sherman's one of them. I don't think he's been chilling. I don't think he's ready.
AJ Bouye's one.
Yeah. So is there any guy out there that out of the list I sent you or just in general that you think is a good target? And then also to offensive line. What do you think about Darrell Williams? I meant to ask you that earlier. Do you think he would be a good pickup?
I would love to see Darrell Williams come back, and because I think he's better than Bobby Hart. He's better than Van Rotten. He just doesn't but Darrell Williams is a guard tackle flex and not a guard center flex. So I wouldn't mind seeing Darrell Williams come back, but would he want to come back? That's the real question. Knowing that he's not going to be a starter, he's just going to be a depth guy.
Yeah, I mean, for 1 year to get some money, I mean, maybe. I don't know. Amy coming in, Benford broke his hand. He did. Yeah, he's going in for surgery. He came back in.
So you were right. He did come back and play, but he didn't play any defensive snaps. He only played special teams.
Right, only special teams. Right. So, what I can tell you is Dawson Knox had hand surgery last year. Now it could be a different kind of break, but he did come back. Right, he missed some time, but he came. I think 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that.
Yeah,
and came back. It wasn't 100%, but it's very possible we still see Benford towards the end of the season, depending on how.
We'll probably see him in about 2 weeks. My guess, because you have to remember the difference with Knox and Benford is Knox had to use his hands to catch. They can club Benford.
They can
put it in a club.
They can. Will he feel comfortable? It's also about pain. I don't know. I have no. But he will be back this season. Regardless, he'll be back. I think more. I think a little longer than 2 weeks back. But who knows? Who knows? He did, like you said, he returned to the game. So his pain tolerance is probably a little higher than I'm saying it is. So,
right.
Anyways, yeah. So Darrell Williams, you think it's pride? Maybe.
I don't know if it's pride. Yeah. I think he's trying to wait for the right fit. Maybe he doesn't feel, maybe he doesn't feel Buffalo's the right fit for him anymore.
All right. By the way, I do want to say something real quick. There were some Calla injuries this week that I saw run across the screen. Mac Jones, high ankle sprain. He's out several weeks. That's a huge loss for the Patriots. Not saying he was like Josh Allen or anything, but he was still a very serviceable quarterback.
He's still their best.
Yeah, he's their best option. Very serviceable quarterback. Knows the system. So I don't even know who their backup is. So
Brian Hoyer.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. He's been around the league for a long time, bro. Garrett, the defensive edge, got into a bad accident. It's not
Myles
life-threatening,
Garrett?
but he's in the hospital still.
Oh, wow.
Supposedly he's getting released tomorrow. But they say it's not life-threatening, but that doesn't mean it's not bad. Like, he's not banged up. So I have no idea what happened there. We'll know more.
Wow.
Trent Williams, I believe, is out for the season.
Yeah, I think
or out weeks, or about four to 6 weeks, they said.
Yeah, Rashawn Slater's out for the season.
Yeah, Slater's out for the season. So there were some major injuries across the NFL.
To some championship hopefuls too. The Myles Garrett one, depending on how bad that is and how long that is, that's a big loss. That's the biggest loss that the Browns could have outside of Nick Chubb.
Yeah, that's huge,
what I mean,
man. Let's see, though. I have no idea.
Sean Slater, the left tackle for the Chargers, that's a huge loss.
That guy too. That's the other guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a huge loss for that Chargers team. Trent Williams for the 49ers, who are so run heavy. He's one of the best left tackles in football.
That hurts.
So those are some big, and even Mac. I'm not super high on Mac,
but that's a big loss.
But that's a huge loss for the Patriots.
Yeah, it's huge. How about, by the way, some upsets across the NFL? The Chiefs getting beat by the Colts.
Is that
I know. Yeah, it is. It is, because the Colts are 0-2. The Chiefs are feeling it. They were just like us, playing very good football for the first 2 weeks, and they were supposed to win. They were a high-scoring team just like us, and they scored very low against a Colts team that just lost, got whooped by the Jacksonville Jaguars, who, by the way, won again and whipped up on the Chargers. So what is going on in Jacksonville?
They have a competent head coach,
right,
and some talent there.
Yeah,
Amy, I'm with you. That Hyde one, because of how bad Danes was and how bad it looked, the Hyde one kind of went under the radar during that Monday night game.
Man, it really did. That was such a huge loss, man.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. That's why we really need Poyer back, because we already know they're the best safety duo in the NFL. And Jordan Poyer is one of the, what would you say? What was he ranked individually as safety? Where would you put him? Top 10?
For strong safeties or safeties overall?
Yeah, in his position. Strong safety.
I would probably say top 6.
Okay. Yeah, see, it's fair enough. Exactly.
I don't. He might even be top 5. I can't name 5 better strong safeties.
Right.
We have. Yeah. Let's think about it from a strong safety standpoint, because there's a difference between strong and free.
Exactly.
Strong, I would think the guy who just got paid in LA with the Chargers.
Yeah, I forget his name.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Yeah, got a good contract.
Yeah, he's one of them. Simmons, but I don't know if he's a strong or he's a free. Like, there's not a ton of strong safeties that are as good as Poyer
that can match.
I would say Poyer's probably top 5, 6 safety overall. Him and Hyde.
Hen Dog coming in saying Brady, Mahomes, Allen lost same day or something like the first time.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know though. That's a silly record, but it's very possible. And speaking of the Bucks, Brady, they aren't looking right. Brady is not that is not the time. Like, I thought he was going to get his act together week 2. I even said it. Yeah, Derwin James. I even said it. I said, watch, he'll be back week 2. You'll see the Brady. He'll get back. He'll knock that rust off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because he missed time during off season with whatever's going on in his personal life, and he's still not looking the same, man. I'm telling you, I don't think either his heart's not totally in it, or there's a lot of pressure at home, bro, and he's getting shit from his wife.
It might be a little bit of both, and he has no help. He's lost a bunch. He's lost both of his top 2 centers. He's on his 3rd string center. He has a bunch of his linemen.
Evans wasn't playing last week either.
No receivers. There was no Evans. There was no Julio. There was no Godwin.
Yeah, you're right. But ooh,
he doesn't look like he's enjoying himself at all.
Right. That's exactly, like, something looks wrong mentally is what I'm saying. Like, something's off. It's not like the same Brady we know, but whatever. Not my problem. That's the Bucks' problem. We're talking about our Bills. So on to the game. It's weird going back to that game. First half, we ran out of time. Second half, We ran out of time. Like, what is the odd of that, right? Like, same situation, right? We're driving for a field goal, right? First half, and we mess up by a botched snap. And then the second half, we mess up because McKenzie doesn't know just to go forward and take what you can and dive real quick and spike the ball. Mikey, I looked at that play over again. When he initially caught it, he had a good at least 7 yards, but he could have ran up straight ahead. He could have got at least to the 45. At least. He's speedy, bro. Yeah. You can't forget that. They do those quick passes all the time, and they easily get 4 or 5 yards. He could have easily got it, and they could have snapped, and we would have had at least 3 seconds. But when he took the ball and went sideways, he actually went backwards, if you watch that. So even if he straight lined it, he would have been at like almost the 50 where he was at initially. So when he tried to cut it back to go a little bit more upfield, it was done. At that was over. Yeah. So it was just I think McKenzie, listen.
I can understand his thought process. He tried to explain it.
It's quick too. It's a quick. Yeah.
You just gotta understand because he ran away from the hash. I know. And then he gave the ball to the ref.
Yeah. I know.
Rather than going and setting it down himself.
I know. Listen, who knows if he's ever in that situation. You get what I'm saying? You got to put that in perspective too. Also, Ken Dorsey's never been in this situation, obviously, as we see. So we can talk about that real quick, the meltdown in Miami. Because that's what it was, guys. I call look at the thumbnail I made. The meltdown in Miami for a lot of reasons. It was hot as shit, and our players were melting, literally, right? And we were on the sideline that was, purposely done for the visiting team to literally sit there like cookies and just bake away, right? Like, I promise you, Josh Allen is going to be super tan coming back next week. But anyways,
a bunch of them are going to be just baked out there, man. Yeah, and to be on the field for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
40 to 60 minutes. And see, that's the thing that we tend to forget about too. That offensive line, like they were out there, like that's why we lost so many of them. Some of them dropped. They were out there. They were gassed.
Oh, dude, they were I feel bad for. Did you see Allen's press conference? He looked like he was in a sauna for like 4 hours. Man.
He was.
That was the worst I've ever seen him. Physically, yeah, just melting. He looked, bro, his hair was I'm like, damn, dude, that dude looks done. And guys, by the way, I am from South Florida. I live in Michigan now. I was born and raised there most of my life in South Florida, Miami, Broward County, right? I lived in both counties. It is super, super hot there. The humidity is the worst in South Florida. So if you've never been there before, trust me when I tell you, it's really bad, really bad. So I feel what they went through. I totally get it. And I'm not an athlete running around with pants and stuff on. You know what I mean? Like pads and right. So
mouthpieces totally in so you can't.
And I'm not
breathe.
sitting, bro. I played softball like Mikey, right? You play softball. So I went 2 years ago when I last played, 3 years, whatever. It was so hot one day in Michigan, bro. I'll never forget it. And I was sitting on the there was a bench, bleachers or whatever, waiting for a game to end. And oh my God, dude, because it was hot that day in Michigan or whatever. Bro, just sitting there for I think it was 40 minutes. I couldn't even play. I had to go home because I was physically drained. When I went to get up, I was done, dude. So it's brutal. Just sitting. I totally get it. But anyways, back on Ken Dorsey, the meltdown. I want to know how you feel, but I'm going to say how I feel. I don't think it's that big of a deal. People are making a big deal out of it. I personally, listen, he's a former quarterback. The players probably already know he's fiery. That's why they said we want him.
There's a reason why they told him to get up in the box.
Right. So he's fiery. He is a proven winner in college, right? So he has that in him, right? He has that where he, he's fiery, and that's what a former quarterback and a guy who knows how to win does, right? He doesn't like to lose. And his heart was in it like the players were. He probably, I'm guessing, he visioned himself down there with the guys, right? Because he's a former player, former quarterback.
Oh, absolutely.
So he understands the heartbreak that went away in 12 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't mind that passion. Obviously, he's going to probably learn how to cope with that anger a little bit better, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I'm sure it happens more than we think. Up there, it just was caught on camera.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mikey? I don't know. I'm just.
Yeah, it's one of those things that happens. Did I like seeing him lose his shit? Because let's be honest, he lost it. I mean, he lost it. No, I didn't like seeing it, but at the same time, can I understand it? Absolutely. There's a reason why the guy was 38-2 in college, and he's rose through the coaching ranks as fast as he can. He's a very passionate and fiery guy. And you know what? The guys love him for it. Sean McDermott, as much as he said he is trying to give the proper answer of I've talked to him about it, he needs to be able to stay more calm, cool, and collected. He loves it. He loves that fiery passion because he cares. He cares.
Of course.
And the guy, the only time it would really bother me seeing something like that is if it bothered if I thought it was going to ruin the locker room. But it doesn't.
Yeah, that's not. Listen, I'll even bet you the players.
And I like Daniel Gary's comment as well. He says only dressing 5 receivers and losing Kumro early meant fewer plays off for the others. It hurt the rotation. The wide receivers were spent and overheating in the fourth quarter. I'll guarantee you the game plan in there wasn't to keep the ball for 40 minutes. I guarantee you that was not our game plan. It's just the way it worked out. I have it, because we brought up more defensive linemen, because of the heat. We thought we would be on defense a little bit more.
They run out of time in the end, and the offensive coordinator, Dorsey.
So at the end of the day, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I listen. I really, I don't know. I think it's good. I mean, I understand what you're saying on that side, but Mikey, listen. Bill Belichick's over there breaking phones on the side. All right, no one's
Tom Brady's breaking tablets too.
That's what I'm saying. So, come on now. The first time ever that a coach has freaked out. There's coaches that's trip players while they're running because they're mad. There's coaches that get into fights with other coaches on the sideline. Like, there was a lot more worse than a guy throwing a tablet. That's all I'm saying. Like, I get it. It looks a little funky and laughable. It probably will be a meme forever.
Or whatever. Ours is our head coach or our offense coordinator slamming his headset and his tablet and ripping up his station. I'll take that over Patrick Mahomes and his offensive coordinator screaming at each other in a fight on the sidelines.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, maybe that is why Ken Dorsey is up there, because I don't know how he would. I'll be honest with you. After seeing that, it's the only reason I'm cool. I'm very glad now that he's up there, because I don't know how fiery he would get with players. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Josh calls him a psycho. There's a reason why Josh said he needs to be up top.
Look at Dable, right? Dable gets in your face, right? Okay, but what would Dorsey? I have no idea. Like, would Dorsey go too far and get really close in the face? I don't know. Would he throw something? So I'm glad he's up there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say, stay up there. I don't care if he continues to throw stuff. By the way, he's probably going to get fined because the NFL reached out, I guess, last week about the tablet situation.
Yeah. He'll
don't want you throwing. Yeah, don't throw those Surface Pros.
Hen dog. At least we didn't have the ass punt. Touche.
By the way,
that ass punt is going to be a meme forever too.
It will, but let me comment on that. That actually worked in their favor. I really wish it didn't happen, because if it didn't happen, that ball would have went to, let's say, even a great punt, the 40. It was in the end zone. There was no way he's kicking it 80 yards. He kicked good all game, but if he kicked that, if he kicked
having
a great,
that short,
why not?
You're getting out to about the 50 tops.
Yeah, but that's better than the 20 where we had the 25. I would have took that all day. Would have been. Trust me, Mikey. Even the commentator said, remember, if the Dolphins are smart, run it, take the 2-point, and the punt. So the field position, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And it winded up working out that way anyways. But I'm just saying, like, it kind of worked in their favor at the end of the day. It was funny. It'll be a gift forever or whatever. But I would have much rather him punt it, because we don't know where that punt would have went. I'm guessing the 50, but he could have shanked it for all we know. Could have went to the 30. So it worked in their favor. Like everything Sunday, am I right, Mikey? Including that, for as stupid it was, Miami caught some breaks.
It kind of bounced Miami's way. I mean, even the concussion bounced their way because he was able to come back.
That was weird. That is shaky. I don't care. Listen,
I
don't
got
care.
Hashtag
Whatever.
in the house.
Yeah.
Is it Paul or Mario? Or Joe? One of them's in the house.
I don't care what anyone said. They're talking about his back and his ankle. Get that, bro. That dude, I know when a player, I've seen people get knocked out at my bar or hit really hard and they are wobbly and they're like, bro, that is not from a back.
Right.
A back, he would have been like, ugh, and he would have probably kneeled down. He wouldn't have been like, bro, he literally was all like a drunk guy. That is a good caution. I don't care what anyone says. Dolphins definitely hid that. But I don't care. Whatever.
We'll find out. They're gonna do an investigation into it.
But he looked fine. So he played fine in the second half.
Well, did he? Like we only saw him really. He had that one drive in the second half, and that was it.
Mario,
what's
man,
going on,
what's
Mario?
up, brother? Thank you for hopping on, bro.
Yeah. So really, did he play fine? He only had that one drive in the second half. Other than that, they didn't look that great. They only held the ball for 20 minutes.
Dorsey had back spasms. That's why. Yeah, that's exactly what happened, yo. Dorsey, it wasn't his anger. Right? Oh my god,
that's great. That's great. So I don't know. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. We got a loss. We lost to the Patriots last year too. One game, and then we came back and fine. We weren't going to go undefeated. We were going to have a loss somewhere. I mean, they gave us everything they had.
So.
And we still shot ourselves in the foot, and they won.
Right. That was my point where I was getting at with just everything went their way, and things just didn't go. So let's get back to that. So Matt Milano, easy interception. Could have took it to the house. Didn't happen. Right. That's one. Trust me, there was nobody in front of him. He would have scored a touchdown. 1, 2. Josh Allen missing McKenzie on the touchdown towards the end of the game. Wide open. Very rare Josh Allen does that, right? Wide open. Gabe Davis, right? Usually very sure-handed. Even if a player tries to swipe the ball, drop the ball, right? Touchdown. That should have been touchdown. I mean, so many things. The botched Josh Allen fumbling. And when we stopped them on their first drive, we get the ball. They had a good punt. We ran, by the way, that was the worst Dorsey
back-to-back zone runs with Zach Moss.
Yeah. And then Josh fumbles, gets strip sack. They had an easy touchdown. They were at the 5? You know what I mean? So it was just like things were not going our way. Some were a lot were self-inflicted, but just some things weren't. Like losing players left and right due to the heat. Like Spencer Brown goes down.
We lost our entire right side of our line twice. We were on our third string right side of our offensive line.
Dallas won, right? Yep, Dallas won. So
yeah. He had 63 throws, but Mario's right. They used the quick passing game to supplement the run game because we couldn't run. Like we struggle running when we have our full O line, let alone our second and third string O line in there.
Yeah, no, we couldn't. It was weird that Devin Singletary was a leading receiver. Stephon Diggs was not right. I think that sun really got to him too. He just was not right out there.
That's what's crazy.
Yeah. Gabe Davis, guys, for as much as I was happy to see him back, and I actually thought he had possibly have a good game, he's not 100%. There's no way he was not cutting right. He's normally way faster. You could kind of see it with his cuts. He just could not get separation. And trust me, that's ankle, man. I know. I broke my ankle.
It's also a good defense.
It is, but trust me, Mike, he was not 100%. I know. I know what ankle injuries are. They're tough, man. They are. Some you come back right away. Some week and you're feeling, but I rolled my ankle the other day and I'm back. I don't even feel anything, but you can slightly sprain it and you're down for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like barely twisted, just the right ligament, all that crap takes. So yeah, man, it just
he got
it
through
point.
It.
Yeah, to your point. Yeah, to your point, the running, by the way, is bad, bro. Like, and it's not the running backs, guys. I mean, now Zach Moss, by the way, is not that good, but he did have a good run. I text Mikey, welcome to the party, Zach Moss, finally for showing up. But honestly, the offensive line run blocking is awful. It's still bad. Players, they're getting blown up every time in the backfield.
I think it's a mixture of a little bit of everything.
It's bad. It's so bad, bro.
Some of our backs aren't seeing the holes, aren't reading
Mind
right.
you, no Mitch Morse either.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about this game. I'm talking about in general this year. We've had some of them who just aren't reading it right. There's holes elsewhere. Because if you go back and watch that, even that Zach Moss long run, it wasn't designed to go where he took it. He just made a play, and sometimes you have to do that.
Exactly. He had the outside edge. He had the edge, and he used.
He cut back, and then he found the outside because it was actually supposed to go left.
Yeah.
And then he cut
was
back.
Smart. That was his first play where I'm like, oh, he's using his vision. Like he's using.
Yeah,
he's using other
Daniel's right here. The offense has been pretty much Josh centric. We need to find a way to get a better run game.
We have to. That's why we brung in Cromer, right? To get these guys going.
But maybe we have guys who can't run block. Maybe that's a Dean issue. And he needs to figure out bring somebody in on a staff who knows run game and start finding guys who can run block.
No, I got to agree. I mean, listen, we Saffold's great, but this is one and done for him. I would be shocked if he comes back, if they re-sign him after this. They have to start.
Dawkins a better pass blocker than run blocker.
Yeah.
Bates is a better pass blocker than run blocker. Morris is a better pass blocker than run blocker. And Brown's nasty, but he's still a second-year guy who's still
learning. Yeah, still green. He was getting used and abused early on.
Our one really good run blocker is Saffold.
That's true. Yeah, and he's aging too, by the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not the old Saffold. He's still very good. Still good. It's quality. But he's not the Saffold, the Pro Bowl Saffold. You know what I mean? But he's better than what we had last year. You know what I mean?
Because I'm watching some of these. I was watching the 49er Denver game last night. And I was watching lanes get opened up, and I'm like, I watched another game later on Sunday after the Bills game, and I was watching lanes get open up. I'm like even with the Seahawks, who don't have a great offensive line, they were still opening up holes. I'm like, what is the issue in Buffalo? Why can't we open holes? Is it scheme? Is it players? Like what? Because the Seahawks don't have a good offensive line, but they're still opening holes.
Yeah, even the Dolphins yesterday opened up some holes. I'm like, oh, okay. Not that they had a great running game because they didn't, but
they still were opening some holes.
Yeah. It just
did we just go against three really good defensive lines and that's what it was?
I don't know. The pass blocking is good though. I mean, it's not great. It's still not great, and that's because we're not healthy once again. We're like musical chairs all over again on the offensive line.
We're playing musical chairs, on our whole team.
Yeah, I know. But offensive line is so important, man. Like Josh yesterday, they were blitzing. They knew once Morse went out, they probably knew about Brown being a little bit slow, ripe. They were going to send Ingram on that corner there. That's why they kept bringing the heat. And we had an answer early, Mikey, but then it seemed like maybe a little bit of everything, a little bit of the sun. We started wearing down. It started to not go our way against the blitz. What do you think about that?
You're right.
Towards the end. Yeah.
No, you're right. Things didn't go our way. We lost a bunch of guys throughout. We were down starting, and we lost more during. I want to get to Dallas's question.
Yeah, go ahead.
He says, opinion on Josh in these close games, including the KC playoff. Josh has been fine in a lot of the close games. I mean, he had the slip in Tennessee. I don't know how much I put stock into this game with it being 105 on the field and something like that, and him being on the field for 40 minutes and running around and just
63 passes.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know, did he miss a wide open guy? Yes. But the dude was flat out exhausted.
Yeah, and don't forget about the running.
Yeah.
On top of it.
I think we could have helped him more. Not once did I see us roll Josh, give him the run pass option outside the pocket where he does the best, especially in the red zone. He was a lot of RPOs inside which I didn't understand considering how much our offense line was getting used. But, ultimately, we're 0-7 in our last 7 one-score games. Everything else we've been blowouts. Am I concerned? A little. Do I think they can correct it? Yes.
You know what I wanted to see there in that game? Speaking of Mario and his comment.
Yeah, Mario nails this one.
Yeah, so
he had to check everything down.
I wish Crowder, they would have got Crowder a little bit more involved in some of the slants. Right? It seemed like they were running Crowder deep on.
There was no jet sweeps. There was no motion.
Yeah, there was not to our receiver. Like it seemed like the guys he was throwing to was the running back. Like I said, Singletary was the lead receiver. But why didn't he mix it up where like Crowder was taking a little bit more slants and crosses? Same with McKenzie. You know what? They did one play to McKenzie was like what do they call that? Flip pass. And I think he got like 9 on it. Yeah. And they only did it once.
Yeah.
Why do they not? I don't understand. That play usually works 9 times out of 10 with
Josh,
his speed around there. I don't understand why they don't do that.
Yeah, I'm looking at Daniel and Mario's comments.
Yeah,
Josh was pressured on like 58% of his dropbacks.
They're always going to do it, by the way.
Yeah.
They're always. That's why.
Well, the problem is we can't run. We physically can't do it.
I get it, but that's why I don't like when Moss is in the game over Singletary because, yes, even though Singletary is still very limited in the running, teams, I think, still kind of respect him a little bit more than they would Moss. Then you can start opening up play actions a little bit more, and teams might bite. But, yeah,
well, Singletary makes that first guy miss in the backfield. And still get 2, 3, 4 yards.
They have to respect them, is what I'm saying. I don't think they respect Moss enough where they think Moss is getting that ball or he's going to do anything with it. Yeah. So that's the problem. And, the
problem is our offensive line can't open a fucking hole.
Well, that too.
Let's call it what it is. Excuse my getting a little
jet pass. Yeah.
Rated R tonight. Yeah. But let's call it what it is. Fine. We can't open a freaking hole.
No, I agree. I totally agree. But we're going to have to figure this out because you cannot. We tried this in 2020. Yep. Where it was cool. It got us to AFC Championship game, but you saw how that worked out. You have to have some running. Gotta have some running.
Sorry. I don't tend to drop F-bombs on here, Mario.
I know what is going on here.
Talking about this offensive line gets me a little fired up. I'm watching
Mikey Mitchell.
Yeah, right. I'm watching this offensive line, offensive lines all over the league. They don't even have very good offensive lines. Open up holes for the running game, but the Bills can't. Is our offensive line the worst in the league?
Worst run blocking, sure. I don't think they're the worst pass blocking. They're up there. It's weird because I'm telling you, it's super strange when Josh goes to run. It seems like, boy, they love making blocks for him. He gets usually positive yards on his runs,
but most of his runs are scrambles. They're not called runs.
I get it, but they do block very well. They do.
Yes, I'm with Mario on that.
Yeah.
Mitch Morris may have been the biggest. Wrecked. Yeah, Mitch Morris was probably the biggest missing link yesterday,
bro.
I miss Poyer, but let's be honest, that secondary still held those 2 guys in check for almost the whole game. Missing Morris.
Huge loss.
With the snaps. The end of both the halves, having Morris changed. Not having Morris changed everything.
Yeah, no, I agree. I remember when that came, when we had the inactives on Sunday. I text you.
Yeah,
I'm like Morse out. Could things get any worse?
Second and 1. So
dropping like flies.
Yeah, second and goal from the 1 yard line, and we don't quarterback sneak. Tells me that you don't trust your center.
Well, you saw the one play though. It was I want to say it was in the 4th quarter, and I think it was an RPO. I'm pretty sure it was, and Josh just got leveled.
Yeah, it was the 2nd and 1 from the second goal from the 1.
It was.
But I'm saying
bad.
Instead of quarterback sneaking it with Josh's 6'5" frame, 240 pounds, instead of quarterback sneaking it, they ran an RPO. That tells me that they don't trust the center quarterback exchange to get that 1 yard.
Yeah,
which would have put us in the lead.
And bro, you know what it was? It's crazy because when you look at the game, everything, the big picture of the game, like stats, all that crap. Bro, we talked about this. We doubled them almost in every category: time of possession, passing yards, rushing yards. The only thing we didn't beat them in is big plays when they were needed. It just seems like we just couldn't.
They went 3 for 3 in the red zone. We went 2 for 4.
Exactly.
That's the difference of the game.
Exactly. And the big plays that they made, we didn't.
Yep.
Like we talked about earlier with Matt Milano. That's a big play, man. He gets that. We're up 24.
I don't know. They dropped about 4 interceptions that they could have had too.
Yeah, that's true, but that was not to the house. That one.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a
couple
game
that should. There's a couple like that one when he bobbled the snap at the end of the half should have been a pick 6 for them.
Oh, that was that. You're right. He was on. I think if it wasn't for Josh Allen's arm, though, like if it was a little bit slower, you're right. He would have been gone. Somebody else throwing that. But the Milano, the reason I go to Milano one is because at that point it was 17-14.
Yeah.
He takes it to the house there, which he would have.
Yeah.
It's
a 10-point game.
It's a 10-point game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We're talking a whole different story today. And it just didn't happen. It just wasn't meant to be. With all the injuries, just everything.
I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you, Mario. Since fans are funny, either Miami is legit and would have won by 20, or they're a mirage and the Bills B team is better. I'm more on the second one. To be perfectly honest, I mean, I think Miami has a good team. I just don't think they're in the same class as Buffalo.
No,
like we had a bunch of guys missing, and we took the best shot, and we still almost beat them after shooting ourselves in the foot multiple times.
We took their best shot with rookie corners, with second year safeties, and Hamlin. Jaquan Johnson, I think, is his 3rd year or 4th, if I'm not mistaken, but he's still ripe at that position. With missing,
you know what,
our center. I mean, there was so much.
We haven't even talked about it. How about give us Kamir Elam his flowers today? The dude was locked on Tyreek Hill almost the whole game, and he had 2 catches for 33 yards.
Yeah. And one thing I do want to bring up about that game, the only thing that bugs me, why, Mikey, do we continue on long 3rd down plays on defense? Do we play this stupid ass soft zone defense that we continue to do year after year? 3rd and 22. Why the hell? What are we doing?
We didn't even rush 3. We played contain 3.
I don't bro. We do it all. It's like happens. It's a consistent thing. Like it happens all the time, and it bugs the hell out of me because why not at least send a linebacker there for a blitz? Like you see when we bring in like Edmonds or Milano, they get home. Like why would you give Tua that much time?
I don't
understand it.
The one thing I don't like about Frazier and McDermott.
Passive, man.
They get very conservative.
Passive. Yeah, bro, I hate it, man.
Very, very conservative. And you know what, Mario? The Chargers need. I see LAC and I instantly think the Clippers. Years of watching NBA basketball. The Chargers need to be really worried now that they lost Slater.
Yeah.
That's a huge loss to their.
That's a huge loss. Very and the Chargers. Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, Allen out too. I don't know when he's supposed to return, but seems like he can never stay healthy. But the Chargers are what they always are every season. They're like a hyped up team. They start off somewhat decent and they fade away. Like they do it every season. And I like Herbert, but it just seems like it's just the way they roll, man. And KC, I still say, even with the loss, KC is still one of the better NFL teams.
But they're not the dominant juggernaut that
they are. But they're still a good playoff team.
Oh, absolutely.
That
they're going to be the ones that are going to be there at the end with us.
That definitely can beat you. You know what I mean? If you don't play your A game, 100%.
And Hunter, I don't think the Chargers suck by any means. I don't know what their deal is. It's a collection of talent who hasn't molded into a team yet. Yeah, and the Frazier conservative thing at the worst times, 3rd and 22 in 13 seconds.
I don't get it.
I don't understand it. And my biggest concern about that 3rd and 22 is fine. You want to play a soft zone, that's fine. Why not rush the quarterback? Why let him sit in the pocket and wait?
Give him something.
Especially with that speed on the outside.
Right. Put some pressure. You got to put pressure on a quarterback, especially if you got guys that can get open. I don't
get it.
I never will get it. I don't it's been like this the trademark of Frazier and McDermott to play that style. It's like almost like they tense up, man. Like they get worried about this big play that would and it's such a bad way of looking at it, Mikey. Like I go back to the Chiefs Bengals and their game in the playoffs, and Chiefs had the ball, and the
Bengals just kept sending four.
They took their game. They took the right. They stayed aggressive, and they were gonna. I don't understand.
Thank you, Mario. He says if you don't hit the like button, you're a Dolphins fan.
Oh, you heard that, guys? Oh man.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't like the conservative play calls. We've been banging on that drum for years, for a couple of years now.
And McDermott on offense too. He's guilty of it too at times.
Yeah.
When we got down at that field goal, which Bass missed badly, why would you not go for it there? But you go for a fourth down way early in the game on like the 45, 50. Like, why not go for it? Like, I don't understand sometimes his thinking. Like, you know what I mean? Like, go for it there. I don't need it in the second quarter.
Daniel calls it, nails it. They're tentative to be aggressive at big moments.
Both sides. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Offense and defense.
I mean, they tend to be more aggressive on offense than they do on defense, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, but the big moments they haven't been for some reason. Some of the bigger moments, like I said, I thought yesterday, why not go for? I mean, worst case, you don't make it, you give it to them on their side. You saw what they did when we missed it on fourth down at the end of the game in their end zone. They couldn't get anything going. Our defense held strong, and that's when the butt pump happened. But like, that's the worst that would have happened there. So why not go for it? Instead, we went for a field goal that didn't even happen. It was a waste, total waste of a drive. So, McDermott has to start getting a little bit more aggressive on offense and defense. Got to, man.
And Mario, I agree. I think Milano and Edmonds stepped up huge. I think the defense all around stepped up huge yesterday. I mean, we held that explosive Miami offense, which I'm not really sure they're explosive. They played one explosive quarter out of 7. And they shut them down basically. They just went 3 for 3 in the red zone. That was the biggest difference. If we could have held them to one field goal, we win that ball game.
100%. They scored 14 points on us on drives that were like longer drives. But and the first touchdown, we gifted them 7. I mean, I get it's still a touchdown, but our defense, for the most part, shorthanded as it was, played very well. I mean, even take the Waddle deep bomb away, even though you can't. That's pretty damn good yardage. I mean, we were holding them to up until that point. Same thing with Hill, lockdown Hill. I mean, we did a lot of really good work out there for a very limited young group of guys. That's why I'm not concerned. Like that's a huge reason, because look what the Dolphins did to the Ravens.
Yeah.
Right. That was not, we had a lot of Dolphin fans coming in here last week that were, we're going to do this, and Hill's going to do this, and Waddle's going to do this and this and this. And I said, you don't know our defense. Even shorthanded, we don't give those kind of, like, we're very, Frazier will dial it up. He knows how to mix and match and makes things, confuse offenses. And he did. But ultimately, at the end of the day, Mikey, we didn't get the job done.
Yep.
And we have the loss.
Let's go to Mario's comment. He says, okay, Paul's going to give me crap for this, but does White move to Hyde's role when he comes back? I say no, because they really like Johnson. And then Hendog comes in and says, I can see Benford moving safety. That's ultimately where Benford's going to end up playing long term is safety.
He ain't ready now, though.
Bean has already said it. When he comes back, there's a chance that Trey's back, and it's going to be Elam and Trey and Dane on the outside, and they could start working them in at safety with Hyde out. Yeah. I could see that. I don't think we would move White because he's still an elite lockdown corner. I can't see them moving him this year.
I don't think Jaquan Johnson played that bad to even consider it. I'm going to be honest with you. I think
outside of that 3rd and 22.
I think, but listen, let's also go back to that and talk about that. We
move Poyer next to him,
but maybe that play doesn't even happen if we send even one rusher. You get what I'm saying? you got to also remember that you can only hold these guys down for so long.
Yeah.
And these are fast dudes. These aren't like slow ass tight ends.
We shut him down and kept that deep one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, granted, the way the defense was designed, you can't let him get behind you, knowing that there was going to be no pass rush. So he should have been backpedaling earlier. He was flat-footed and he ran past him. But even with that, if you put Johnson next to Poyer, it's a different setup too.
Different ball game. It's a totally different defense.
So there's a lot of different matchups that they could throw out there depending on what they want to do with Hyde. Are we going to miss Hyde? Absolutely.
100%.
But I'm with Mario on this. With Elam and Trey, because I thought Elam played fantastic yesterday.
Played very well.
I thought he played fantastic yesterday.
Yeah.
With Elam and Trey on the outside, you can, they both have the ability to play that man. It changes everything.
Yeah. Well, Daniel, speaking, that's why I kept telling everybody I think he won't be back till week 8 because I think they're not going to rush him back. They are not. Like he hasn't even practiced with pads on.
Yeah.
Okay. Like he's gonna.
They're talking about moving him to safety. That's what this is all. This whole.
I know that, but they're not. I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to put him in. He's going to be 100%. He's going to go right to corner. He's going to go right back to his spot.
They're not going to mess around and move him to safety. Especially with Johnson and Hamlin back there.
There's no reason.
Poyer coming back.
There's no reason.
I don't see them doing that. I mean, I think they're going to move Benford at some point to start getting cross-trained back there, especially once we have White and Dane Jackson back, because then Benford's going to be CB4 or 5 because of Johnson. I can see them starting to cross-train him back there, and we may see Benford a little bit in a safety role as well. But I don't think I mean, it's intriguing. I think Trey could play the position.
Yeah, but I wouldn't feel comfortable with it right now.
I'd rather see him at corner.
I think you put him back to his natural spot where he, lock down Trey, you let him do his thing, and see how the season rolls. I think he'll be fine.
It's not the first time I've seen that. It was all over Twitter today. Mario, get Joe Hayden out of retirement. If you listen to Joe Hayden on the Pat McAfee show, he ain't coming back.
Yeah, he seems done. He
seems at peace being done. I mean, he doesn't want to cheat football. Von Miller was going to give him money out of his own pocket to come here, and he didn't.
Yeah. I don't think I think he's content. He's done.
Yeah.
And some of the vet corners that we talked about earlier, like Richard Sherman, if he really he doesn't. I don't think
Sherman doesn't come back because he's not going to want to take a back seat anywhere. I don't think any of those guys. So you have King, you have Bouye, you have a few others that are out there. I don't think any of them could take the backup role because they'll only, if they do come in and they do start right away, they're only going to start for a couple of weeks because then Trey's going to be back and then Dane's going to be back and then Benford's going to be back. Now all of a sudden there's CB6.
Yeah.
Kevin King, I love Kevin King.
Yeah, I would take him.
But Mario, do you feel that he would be okay being CB5 once everyone gets back? Because they're not gonna impact Elam and Benford's growth for a free agent 1-year rental.
Yeah, I also think when we find out how long Dane Jackson will be out will determine a lot about how Brandon Beane goes, looking for, who he's looking for. You know what I mean?
No, I agree that because if he's going to be out a few more weeks, knowing that Benford's already going to be out a few more weeks, he might make the phone call and suck it up and bring somebody in.
Correct.
I get
that's
that.
where I'm thinking. That's where
I get it. The Super Bowl team.
I think this is the year, though, Mikey. I said this when we were talking earlier, that Brandon Beane has to. Even in general, even if we're getting our team back to healthy towards the when the trade deadline starts,
comes down to money too, though.
No, I get that, but there could be a player out there. Even let's say he's not like a high, a big contract
superstar.
Player. Yeah, let's just say he's just the guy that he really likes, and we can get him for a right price. But I still would like some kind of trade to improve the team heading into the playoffs. And I'll say it again, the OBJ thing is very intriguing to me. Down that, of course, if he comes back healthy, I have no idea, but that is very intriguing to me towards the end of the season. I'll say it again, like that. Depending on the price, I know a lot of you guys are mixed on that, but I'm telling you,
we could have used him yesterday.
100%. 100% we could have used him yesterday. So, keep that in mind because, listen, Von's still talking about it, right? His name's still floating around there. There has to be a reason. I mean, there has to be. So we'll find that out later in the season. But it's interesting.
I still believe, Dallas. I still believe this is the year that we're going to win the Super Bowl.
Yes, I do.
This one loss isn't going to change that. Losing Hyde for the year doesn't define that. With our offense the way it's set up with Josh leading it, and our defensive line as good as it's going to be, because you have to remember we're going to get Oliver back, we're going to get Phillips back, we're going to get Poyer back, we're going to get White back. A lot of these guys are coming back.
Yep,
it's about just getting through the regular season, getting us primed for the playoffs, and then make that run. Would I like the 1 seed? Absolutely. Does the 1 seed really ultimately going to be make or break us on the Super Bowl run? I don't believe so.
Yeah. The main key is getting healthy, man. Getting these guys back is key. Getting that late playoff push.
Yep.
Getting in the playoffs, having everybody healthy going into the playoffs. Because you guys know there's teams that get hot towards the end. We got hot last year. I mean, look, we were doing these.
That Bengals team wasn't that great defensively all year.
And they turned it up.
And that Bengals team's defense what led them to the Super Bowl. It wasn't Joe Burrow. Like he didn't even have that great of a playoff run.
100%. And like I said, look, last year, I remember doing these streams with you guys post game. I do them every time, win or lose, and we were not playing very well.
Yeah.
And I remember not saying you guys particularly, but a lot of Bills fans were this team and this team sucks and fire the coach and
after every loss.
Yeah, but it was getting bad, especially after the Jags loss, right? You
thought Dorsey had a meltdown. Bill's Twitter had a meltdown after that Jags loss.
The world was ending, and then the Tampa loss. It was even worse for some odd reason, and we turned it on, right? We turned it on, and we went on 5-game winning streak. We won the AFC East, right? We won again, which everyone said we weren't. Yeah. I remember, right? Patriots.
Remember the Bills were dead after 1 year on top.
Right. So we won, and we almost should have won the Super Bowl. That close. But either way, my point is, it's week 3, guys. I won it. With everything.
Can't read too much into it.
Yeah, and if you step back, look at the big picture, and look at how we played with all the people that were out. It's actually not such a bad thing. Right. So
you still play
as long as we get our guys back, right? And everybody, and like I said, we do that nice little playoff push at the end, we'll be just fine. That's all I'm saying. So don't get too caught up in week 3 loss against the Dolphins. That big it really isn't that big of a deal, guys. I promise you. Take it sucks, but
it's 1 of 17.
Yeah. We got to move on to the Ravens, handle our business in Baltimore, come back and handle our business at home against the Steelers.
Yeah.
And then on the road to KC, and then we have a bye, and hopefully we see Trey. Right? Yeah. And that's it. And we're going
1 week at a time. 1 week at a time.
1 week at a time.
We're going to go play a 1 o'clock game against Baltimore.
I will say this, good news. We are out of the heat. We are heading up north.
Right. We're going to go, and Baltimore's going to bring a different challenge too.
Sure, they are. Of course they are. They always do. So,
it'll be fun to watch.
Anything else, Mikey, before we
No, yes, there is one thing. We want to thank Del Reed and all the people over there at 26 Shirts. All the positivity they bring to the community, giving back. They do wonderful job out there promoting how helpful they are and how they like to give back, and the charity and the generosity of those wonderful people over 26 Shirts, who is a huge sponsor of Mafia Buffalo fan base. Yep. And Del Reed obviously heads us all up. So we want to say thank you to Del Reed and the 26 Shirt crew. Make sure you go over there and buy a shirt. It goes to donation for a family in need.
There you go.
I want
And
to make sure we get that in.
Yep. And we will be back. Me and Mikey will be back Friday Night Lights at 8. And tomorrow is Nuclear Heat Wave Wrestling Podcast. So if you enjoy pro wrestling, that's at 8:30 tomorrow. Wednesday, Rally Towel Sports. Great guys. You guys got to really support all my podcast guys, but they're really cool guys. Support them. Come on Wednesday night, 8:30. Thursday at 7, we have basketball, Bucket Furia. They cover the NBA. And be nice. They're newbies to this content game. So they're getting their feet wet. So, show them
Trevor and Juan, right? Trevor and Juan?
Yeah. No, not Trevor and Juan. Raul and Alex.
Raul and Alex. Okay.
Guys, they're brand newbies. They're newbies.
Good guys. They're good guys.
Right. So very good guys. But if podcasting is a lot like, I will say this, for anyone that's in this chat that ever is thinking about doing it, it's a lot like karaoke. Honestly, if you've never done it, but you think you could do it, try it, because you never know if you enjoy it. Even if you think you're not that good, go for it. Because
Mario from #sports yanked me out of the chat. Him and Paul said, brought me in to do a video with them on mock drafts.
Right.
And that led to me being teamed up with you, and a year later, here we are.
Exactly. So,
so thank you to my #sports brothers for getting me in this game.
And as me as well for introducing me to the best co-host a guy could have. And
that's
Mikey.
right.
So
don't you forget it.
I don't. So anyways, be nice to those guys, man. They're learning. They're gonna get better.
And then Saturday
we got Fantasy Kingdom at 1, and then we also got AFC East Shakedown, which won't be on my channel, be on Captain D's, which I'll tweet all this out to you. And then also we have a new guy. I want to say, by the way, real quick. So 8:30 Backdoor Bills Talk on Saturday night, Jason Malloy, but I have a co-host for him. His name is Sonny. Mikey. He's from Alaska.
Nice.
He actually went to the Bills home opener in SoFi, California. Nice. So he's a diehard fan. He's been a fan since '88, I believe he said. So he's almost a lifelong fan. Nice. And a diehard. He knows his stuff. And I think he's going to bring a little bit of fun to the show with Jason. They're going to mix it up.
Cool.
Yeah. So guys, help them out. Support them as well.
Also, you'll see me and Tommy in the chat as well. So if you want to come over and talk crap to us, we'll be there too.
Yeah. So other than that, guys, once again, we appreciate everybody. Amy, I'm not sure if I've ever seen you before. But if
Amy's been here before, but we appreciate her in here.
I'm sorry. I don't. But thank you anyway. So Hen Dog, Daniel, Dallas, Mario. Yeah. Anybody else I miss, I apologize. But we are out of here. Thanks again for.
Let's play the best outro in the business, brother.
It is the best outro. Peace out. Go Bills. Bills Mafia
number
1. Peace. Go Bills. And we are out of here. Peace out. Go Bills.